Like many cities across the US, Phoenix has seen a significant jump in home prices over the last 5 years. With that being said, there still are parts of the Phoenix metro area that are relatively affordable when compared to other major metropolitan areas. In this video, I'll dig into the most affordable cities and the things to consider before deciding on one of these cities. I'm going to break this up into two parts. First, we'll take a look at the top cities people are relocating to Phoenix from and how their median home prices compared to Phoenix. Then we'll take a look at a handful of cities in the Phoenix metro area to see which areas are the most affordable and if we can find a house for under 400,000. All right, so first thing we're going to do here, let's look at the top 10 cities people are relocating to Phoenix from. So number 1, you've got Seattle. Number 2, Los Angeles. Number 3 is Dallas. 4, San Francisco. 5, Chicago. 6, Portland. 7 is Denver. 8, San Diego. 9, Las Vegas. And 10, New York. So we're going to focus on the top 5 cities, and let's look at the Phoenix median home price when compared to the other top 5 cities that people are relocating from. So if we look at Phoenix here, I'll go on the 5-year first. Obviously, as I mentioned, the median home price has gone up quite a bit over the last 5 years. In January of 2020, we were sub 300,000. In the last year, it has leveled out quite a bit, and the median sale price is currently at 460,000. So first up in comparison, we've got Seattle. In Seattle, obviously, same thing. You've got to jump up over the last 5 years. But in the last year, it's leveled out quite a bit. But you are just under 800,000 for the median sale price. So obviously, moving to Phoenix, you're looking at a bit of savings there. And of course, getting rid of the rain and finding some sunshine, which is always nice, right? So next up, we have Los Angeles. Obviously, this is going to be a bit hard to compare Los Angeles really to anywhere else. And this will be the same thing for San Francisco when we take a look at that. But just to take a look and see one of the reasons people may be moving from Los Angeles to Phoenix, obviously in the last year, it has leveled out quite a bit. But, just under 1.1 million is the median sale price. So obviously a big savings if you're going to Phoenix where you're at 460,000. Next up, you have Dallas. So this one's a bit of a different story, right? It's not really a big savings here. There was a bit of a spike early last year in Dallas, but current median sale price is 395,000. So a little bit of a bump up if you're moving to Phoenix, but nothing too crazy there. Next up, we have San Francisco, similar to LA. This is really hard to compare. San Francisco obviously is a very expensive place to live. Probably another reason why people are looking at Phoenix. And you're at 1.2 million median sale price in San Francisco. And then last up, we have Chicago. And this would be the other one that's lower than Phoenix, but people are still moving. I imagine Chicago, part of the reason too, is the weather. So right now, 350,000 is the median sale price in Chicago. All right, let's shift gears from relocation cities and let's take a look at some of the more affordable cities in the Phoenix metro area. Let's take a look at a map here of the valley, and I'm going to go over a few different cities. In the West Valley, we're going to look at Buckeye. We're going to look at Goodyear. Right next to Goodyear in this area here is Avondale. And then north of those is Surprise. And then in the East Valley, we're going to take a look at Mesa. And then we're going to take a look at Apache Junction. So let's start in the West Valley and look at median sale price of Buckeye. So 415,000. If you look at a trend line over the last year, it's been relatively flat. This is definitely an area where you could find homes for under 400,000. Next up, we have Goodyear. So there's going to be a little bit of a jump up here in median sale price at 479. You can see the trend line over the past year. It's dipped down a little bit recently, but somewhere between that 450 and 490 range. Next to that, we have Avondale. So median sale price 427,000. Again, here relatively flat over the past year. You can find some houses in this area as well for under 400,000. Next up, north of those cities, we have Surprise. So median sale price 423,000. Again, trend line over the last year been relatively flat. This is an area where they're building quite a few new construction homes. So if you want something brand new, this would be an area to consider. Now out on the East Valley, we've got Mesa. So $450,000 median sale price. Same thing here. Trend line's been relatively flat. This area has a mix of older homes and some newer. So there is going to be a range in home prices here. And then the furthest out in the East Valley, we've got Apache Junction. So median sale price 370,000. You can see the trend line here over the past year. It's been somewhere between 400 and 360 over the past year. Now, one thing to keep in mind, let's go back to the map here. What you'll notice, and this is common with most metropolitan areas, the further out you go, the more affordable it seems to be. So we looked at Buckeye, and that was the most affordable in the West Valley. And then if you looked at Apache Junction, that was the most affordable in the East Valley. So both of those are pretty far out and the most affordable. Now, one thing to keep in mind too, when you're planning out where you may want to live, it's good to do a trip out here and really drive around and map out some of these areas. And I'll give you an example. My wife and I came out and I was potentially looking at some new construction in Surprise outside of the 303 up in this area here. They're doing a lot of new construction. When we actually went up into this area, we realized it was just too far out for us. My wife needs to get to the airport a few times a month, and it was just going to be too far. So there are areas where you're going to look at it on the map and go, it doesn't seem too bad. But when you make a trip here and you're driving around, especially if it's rush hour, it'll give you a good idea of what type of time it'll take. Now, if you work remote, you work from home, probably not a big deal. But if you need to get into an office, you'll definitely want to map out some of these areas to see how long it'll take you. Hopefully this video gives you a better idea of some of the more affordable areas in the East and West Valley. If you're looking for something under that 450 or 400,000 range, there are definitely a few options out there, but I would highly recommend coming out for a visit, probably even when it's a little bit warmer so you can experience the heat and start driving around some of these areas so you can really see how long it takes to get from A to B.